My name is Cheryl, and what happened at that holiday lunch completely changed the way I saw my family. The table was full, food everywhere, laughter, fake smiles, the kind families put on when they want everything to look perfect. I had just sat down when my mom cleared her throat. The room went quiet. That's when I knew something was coming. She looked straight at me and said, "You know, Cheryl, you really need to stop relying on this family." I blinked. Forks froze mid-air. My aunt avoided eye contact. My brother smirked. Mom continued, "You're always taking, always benefiting. It's embarrassing." My chest tightened. Taking? Benefiting? I thought about the rent I quietly covered, the utilities in my name, the credit card I paid off when my parents were short this month. But I didn't say a word. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I simply stood up, pushed my chair in, and smiled. "You're right," I said calmly. "I won't rely on the family anymore." The table relaxed. They thought they had won. They thought I was finally put in my place. I went upstairs, packed a single bag, quietly, no drama. Because what they didn't realize was that the moment I walked out that door, everything they depended on was coming with me, and they wouldn't notice until it was far too late. I walked out of that house without looking back. The cold air hit my face, sharp and real. I sat in my car for a moment, just breathing. My phone buzzed, a message from my mom. "Don't be dramatic, Cheryl, you'll be back by dessert." I didn't reply. I started the engine and drove away, not to punish them, not to make a point, but because I was finally done explaining myself. An hour later, my phone rang again. This time, it was my dad. His voice was calm, too calm. "Hey," he said, "your card declined at the grocery store." I pulled over. Not surprised, just waiting. "Which card?" I asked. "The one you set up for household expenses," he replied. "Your mom's embarrassed." I let out a slow breath. That card paid for groceries, gas, internet, half their mortgage. "I canceled it," I said quietly. Silence. "You what?" my dad finally asked. "I canceled everything in my name," I replied. "You said I rely on the family, so I stopped." He laughed nervously. Okay, you've made your point. Just come back." "No," I said, calm, final. That night, the power went out at the house, the internet shut off, and their streaming service stopped right in the middle of a movie. My phone lit up non-stop, missed calls, angry texts, then panic. "Cheryl, this isn't funny. You're hurting the whole family." I stared at the messages, and for the first time, I felt nothing, because the truth was finally out. They didn't miss me, they missed what I paid for. And the real shock was still coming. The next morning, my phone rang before sunrise. This time, it wasn't my parents. It was the bank. "Ms. Carter," the woman said politely, "we noticed multiple attempts to access accounts you're listed on." I wasn't surprised. I had removed my name from every shared account the night before, quietly, legally. "Those accounts are no longer active under my authorization," I replied. "Any access attempts weren't mine." The woman paused. "Understood. We'll make a note." I hung up and stared at the ceiling. My hands weren't shaking anymore. I felt clear. An hour later, my aunt called. No greeting, no concern. "Your parents are panicking," she snapped. "Do you know how embarrassing this is?" I almost laughed. "Embarrassing?" I asked. "You mean inconvenient?" She lowered her voice. "They're talking about selling the car." The car, the one I co-signed for, the one they drove while telling everyone I was irresponsible. "They should," I said calmly. "It's in my name." Silence. "Cheryl," she finally said, "you're tearing the family apart." I closed my eyes. "No," I replied. "I just stopped holding it together by myself."
That afternoon, my brother showed up at my apartment, unannounced, furious. "Do you know Mom is crying?" he demanded. "Dad says you've gone too far." I looked at him, the golden child, the one they never questioned. "Did they tell you who paid for their lifestyle?" I asked. He hesitated just for a second. "That's what I thought," I said quietly. He scoffed. "You always think you're better than us." I shook my head. "No," I replied. "I just finally stopped letting you treat me like I'm less." He left without another word, slamming the door behind him. That night, my mom sent one last message. "If you don't fix this, don't bother calling us family." I read it slowly, then deleted it. Because for the first time, I wasn't afraid of losing them. I was afraid of losing myself again, and I wouldn't let that happen. Not anymore.
3 days passed. No calls, no texts, just silence. And then reality hit them. The mortgage payment bounced, the car dealership called, their credit cards were frozen. That's when my dad finally showed up. Alone, older, smaller than I remembered. He stood outside my apartment door for a long moment. When I opened it, he didn't look angry. He looked scared. "We didn't realize how much you were doing," he said quietly. "Your mom didn't mean it like that." I leaned against the doorframe, calm, steady. "She said it out loud," I replied, "at a table full of people. That wasn't an accident." He swallowed hard. "We're struggling," he admitted. I nodded. "So was I said, "for years." He looked up. "So, what now?" I met his eyes. No anger, no bitterness. "Now," I said, "we have an honest relationship. Or we don't have one at all." He nodded slowly. "I understand." I closed the door gently, not to punish him, but to protect myself. That night, I sat alone in my apartment. No noise, no guilt, just peace. I realized something important. Walking away didn't make me weak. It showed me my strength. They told me to stop relying on the family, and I did. Turns out, I was never the one depending on them. I was the foundation, and when I left quietly, everything else fell apart. A month later, we met again, not at a holiday table, not in their house, but at a small cafe. Neutral ground. Boundaries. My mom looked at me and said something I never expected. "We relied on you," she admitted, "and we took you for granted." I nodded, not triumphant, just honest. "I'm not cutting you off forever," I said, "but things will never go back to how they were." They agreed, because this time they had no leverage. When I walked out of that cafe, I felt lighter than I had in years. Walking away didn't destroy my family. It rebuilt it on truth. And if it hadn't, I would have still been okay. Because the day they told me to stop relying on the family was the day I finally started relying on myself.